There we go. Try again. Try again. Just need confirmation that the chat is working. And then we begin. There was a lag. Hello? Hello? Oh, there we go. Magnus Agma, you are first. Welcome. He says, hello. Hello. How are you doing, buddy? What are you up to this fine Thursday evening? Are you alt-tabbed at work, trying to escape the grind for a few moments? Nat C, what up? Hello. Hey, you bet. Welcome to the stream. Courtney Harden, hello. How you doing? Buscando imitar a Cristo. Hey, I like your screen name. That's really cool, dude. Thank you, dude. That's really cool. Bacon. Buscando says bacon. The Rocket Crotch. Hey, Rocket Crotch. What up, dude? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you as always. Traveling Ashlar. What up, man? How you doing, buddy? You just got off work to chill about a stream? Yeah, dude. Just got off work. Man, you got off work early. That's nice. You must have to go to work early, too. That sucks. Simon Rogers, thank you, dude. Yeah, we are 100 episodes now. Hey, you want to come up here, buddy? Squeaky's joining us. Come on, buddy. I think on our last live stream, I don't think Squeaky came to our last live stream. I think he was mostly just not here. Oh, let's go full screen. There we go. Here's Squeaky. He has come. Dylan, what up, man? How you doing, buddy? Somebody. Nice screen name. I am somebody. What up, man? Oh, it's a different time zone. Oh, it's midnight there. Oh, dude, so you work like third shift or second shift. Oh, I worked second shift for about 6 months or so. It was miserable. I hated. No, hold on a second. No, second shift wasn't that bad. Second shift, second shift, what I didn't like about second shift is you get up in the morning and then all morning and early afternoon long, all you're thinking is, I have to go to work today. I have to go to work. I have to go to work. And so the time you're not at work, it just seems miserable. So I didn't like that about second shift. And then because if you're on first shift, you go to work and it's done. And then you have like time in the evening, to like do stuff. And you really don't have to think about work because you're going to go to bed. So like second shift, you have work hanging over your head all morning and early afternoon. So I didn't like that. Third shift was the one that was miserable. I worked third shift. Oh, I hated it. It was so bad. Hated that crap. So anyway, when I was like, this was back when I was, I worked at a factory for a while. And then after that, I was in logistics. And then I was a quality assurance supervisor for a while too. This is all automotive. I used to work in automotive. And these are back when I was in automotive days, working first, second, third shift and stuff like that. I used to work 12-hour days. When I first started working at that factory, I worked 12-hour days, 12-hour shifts. Oh, wow. That was brutal. And I needed money too. So I was broke. I was dirt broke. And I would like volunteer for overtime and stuff. So I'm working I'm like, oh, those were rough times in my life. That was probably the suckiest time of my life. Probably. I think. Yeah. So anyway, so I totally understand that crap. 100%. I got 2 cats up here with me now. Gadget Cat. What up, dude? How you doing? Silver and Silverman. Sven, I should say. Sven. What up, dude? How you doing, man? Yeah, it's been a while. Welcome back, dude. Rocket Crotch says I ate at 3, so my day has been recently upgraded in ranking from Monday to Wednesday. Oh, I don't know what that means, but hey, dude, that sounds good. I have not eaten all day today. Today I'm not eating. My wife and I went on a little trip yesterday, and I ate a lot. Como cosaco, como ella dice. She says I eat like a cosaco. So that's like I'm not gonna explain it to you. It's if you speak Spanish, you probably understand what that means. But today to make up for yesterday's overeating, today I'm just not eating. I know, yeah, it'll help. Let's see. Dreams and Any, hello, what up, dude? you doing, man? Banana MTG, hello. That guy, I am doing well, thank you. How are you? It's easier to schedule online games with different time zones than in my real life group. Oh yeah, generally speaking, I think it's easier to schedule an online game because it's easier to find players who fit the schedule. And you know, the thing with playing online is that, for instance, if I were to run an online game a day of the week, like or plan one on like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it would be easier for me to fit that into my schedule. But for my in-person games, those like have to be on probably a weekend ideally. I might be able to do a Friday night, but weekend is the ideal situation for an in-person game. So yeah, there are advantages to online games. I think scheduling is one of them. And honestly, running an online game takes a little bit less work, I think, for me in some regards, because like I just turn my computer stuff on. I don't have to like set up my whole table. I don't have to like clean my house a little bit and like, you know, do certain things, you know, to get ready to host the game here. So online has its benefits. I mean, it has its pros. It obviously has its cons as well, but it has its benefits for sure. Yes, the kitty folk have invaded. They've totally invaded. We should probably kick this off. Okay, so tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are doing a Q&A live stream. So you just throw your questions in the chat and I'll just answer questions and we'll just hang out and talk and have fun. It could be questions about D&D or other TTRPGs, game mastering, dungeon mastering. I don't really care. We'll just talk about whatever. This is like the good old days. I haven't had one of these Q&A live streams for a while, so we're just gonna do that tonight and it'll be fun. This is also our 100th Q&A live stream too, so it's number 100. So it would be awesome if it were like some sort of extravaganza, but yeah, I'm not planning anything special. We're just hanging out and having fun like we always do. Yeah. So we have announcements. We do have a giveaway going on, just like we always do. Every single live stream, we are going to be giving away $50 DM Lair Store credit. You can buy whole bunches of gobs of books and other Game Master resources that we have on our site. There's a link in the chat. Nightbot appears to be working, so you just click that link toward the giveaway, you enter your name and crap, and then you click some buttons and crap, and then at the end of the live stream, we will draw the winner to the giveaway. So go do that. It's free. It's free to enter, 100% free, and somebody will win. And we usually don't have that many people enter those things. Like 30 people usually enter them. So, which is interesting because we have like, you know, usually over 100 on the live stream, but not a whole lot of people enter them. So that means that your chances of winning are actually really good. Really good. So into that. Also, we have our next Kickstarter, Dungeon Drifters. Squeaky's like, I'm gonna sit on the box. This is launching on Tuesday. This is gonna launch on Tuesday, Dungeon Drifters. It's a board game. It's a dungeon delving board game. So I like to say that it's D&D adjacent because you are delving into dungeons and killing monsters and stuff like that. It's gonna come with 46 of these full color acrylic standee minis. These are two of my favorite ones. There are some others that are my favorites are buried in this box, but these are the ones I dug out. There are 46 of these. Full color, beautiful, two-sided. You have gobs of dice. There's also full color playing cards that come with it. So we've been developing this since August, I think, of last year, something like that. And it's tons of fun. You should go. There's a link in the description. Link in the the description's the best place. Comment or whatever. The pinned comment down there, click that link, and then you can go follow our Kickstarter. It's going to launch on Tuesday next week. And if you back within the first 72 hours, you will get a free miniature. What is it called? Verith the Fallen Protector. It's like a fallen angel. It's really cool. Actually, I can show you what it looks like over here because I have this like really cool. This is like our Kickstarter page. So if I zoom in a little bit, you can kind of see what the mini looks like. This is Verith the Fallen Protector. So you get this for free if you back within the first 72 hours. And this is just like, you can click the link and it'll tell you everything about the game, like all of the information. You can see like, you can literally see like all of the different acrylic standees that you get with the game. Like there's 46 of these things. And I don't even think they might all be here. I don't think they are. I think there are some that aren't on here because there's just not enough room to put them all here. And there's full color playing cards, dungeon maps. You get a bunch of dice too. Oh, we have 2 expansions that go along with it as well to get more acrylic minis, more stuff to the game. And then this will talk about the different expansions and stuff. And we have beautiful artwork. Oh, wow. The artists, we had 3 artists working on this, just doing amazing. They're credited at the bottom of this page too, or they will be on the live page. I haven't looked at this one. This is like the pre-launch page, so it might not have everything on it. But anyway, very, very cool. Beautiful, beautiful artwork. Cool, fun game. So go take a look at that. That's going to launch on Tuesday next week. All right, I think that's our announcements. We can just chill, hang out, answer some questions. Gadget Cat says, have you heard they're making a Baldur's Gate MTG set? Nope. Doesn't surprise me. They've been, Magic the Gathering's been doing a lot of these crossover things. Like, that's just like all crossover, tons of crossovers is what I've heard. In fact, what was that? I was reading a comment from somebody on my YouTube video or somewhere where that was actually one of their complaints, that they were tired of all the stupid crossover crap. I don't know, is this a thing? Like, the Magic the Gathering players generally like not like the crossover stuff? This person was disparaging it, saying they didn't like it and they were tired of all the crossover crap they were doing for Magic the Gathering. But I don't know if that's like a common thing or if that was just something that this person didn't particularly like. So I don't know. I know Magic the Gathering has been like really leaning heavy into borderline sleazy ways to monetize and make money, you know, and these crossover things I would imagine are part of that. I don't know. Yeah. How do you make settlements without thinking about it too much? I mean, you don't have to think about anything too much. Come up with a name. Think of the government type. How is it governed, right? Is it like a what is there, like a city council? Is there a mayor who's in charge? Are they voted in? Is the mayor just like the noble person with the most power? Is it just governed by nobles, you know, and then like the nobles just decide what happens? Is there like a dictator? Is there one person that's totally in charge and they rule by force? The military, the city police is on their time. So think of how it's ruled. I think that's the first thing. Name how it's ruled, okay? And then you want to think about stuff like, why does the settlement exist? Why does it exist? Is it like an agricultural hub? Like there are a bunch of farmers and stuff, and then this is where a market is located, that other towns come to this central market? And is that the main reason for its existence? Because remember, every settlement or every town or city, there's a reason for it to be there, generally speaking, especially if it gets large enough. There's something that's there that people come there or people live there for. If it's on a port, obviously there's a lot of trade and stuff. There might be a fishing industry. If it's inland, there's probably a reason. Maybe there are some mines nearby, and so gold mining or gem mining or something is very important to that settlement. And so there are lots of miners that are there. Maybe they're known for their metal crafting, but there's got to be something that like they're known for that brings the people there. And this helps flesh out some of the interesting tidbits and stuff. Like if you know that it's a mining colony, you know, or a mining city or whatever, when the players walk in, you can just off the cuff describe miners carrying, you know, pushing carts along there, or have raw ore up on top of them and stuff. And you can describe the populace having like, you know, maybe they have like soot and stuff over their faces as they're coming back from the mines or something. I don't know. So like knowing what the principal industry or industries is, I think is really important. And then have an idea of like what the police force looks like, the town guard and stuff like that. Because if you're running a D&D game, that's probably going to come up. They're probably going to get in some trouble or run into the town guard from time to time. So know what that kind of looks like. How many are on a patrol? You know, what kind of armor do they have? Are they mounted? Not? Do they have spears? Do they have swords? What kind of armor are they using? So just some things like that. You might want to develop a symbol for the town or city. Like, you know, like they have a flag or something and there's like some sort of symbol on their flag. There's probably some fancy term for how you would describe that. At that point, think about what the population would be like, you know, and I would start to think about what kinds of services they have there. And you want to think of things like, what are adventurers most likely to run into? So a tavern, an inn, a place to buy stuff, right? And then have names for those establishments, like the Singing Fish Tavern, you know, and the Crooked Staff alchemist shop or something, you know, and then I would have a name for the proprietor, the person they'd run into, and like if he's a halfling or something, you know, and then you're kind of ready at that point, I think, for a settlement. you fleshed out a lot of the high level information that is most likely to come into play at the game table. And that's the key, right? You want to flesh out the things that are most likely to happen at the game table. What are adventurers coming into the city most likely to see and do? And flesh those things out. You don't have to be super detailed about that, you know? In fact, if you flesh your settlement out too much, that can impede gameplay, because then you can't find what you need and you're wading through pages of information. So I would, especially, you never know how much you're going to need. And if you spend too much time on a settlement, then you're kind of wasting time in a way. So I would spend the minimum amount of time necessary to get what you think you're most likely going to need. And remember, the players, many times settlements in D&D and other TTRPGs serve as adventuring hubs. Adventurers go there for a limited time and then they leave to go adventuring and then they come back. And so you just think about, you know, the fact that it is usually an ephemeral part of the game that's going to be there for a little bit and then not make any difference whatsoever. So don't spend tons of time overthinking it, working on it. Just kind of like make a thing, you know, and then be prepared to improvise. Be prepared to improvise along the way. A lot of times for my game sessions, I would say except for my in-person ones, even my in-person ones sometimes, but like I'll have ChatGPT or some other, you know, platform like that opened up. And then if I need to quickly brainstorm something because the players did something, I'll just be like, hey, do this for me. And it'll create something really quick that I can just drag and drop. Or it can brainstorm ideas for me, you know, for something. You know, for instance, I might say, give me five, I'll just type in 5 names for a tavern. And then it'll be like, boom, 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 boom. And it gives me 5 names. I pick one, you know. So I think that's a useful tool too. So minimize your prep time and just create the things that are most applicable, that are most likely to be used. Okay, more questions. So somebody's saying they like the crossovers for Magic the Gathering. Carl says Black Dragon Wormling CR4 versus a Babao CR4. How can the Babao defeat an underwater water-breathing foe with blind sight and rechargeable acid breath? It seems that the CR system is broken. The CR system wasn't designed to have monsters fighting monsters. The CR system was designed to pit player characters up against monsters. So I feel like anytime you use a system that for a purpose that it wasn't intended for, I feel like you're probably going to run into problems, you know. Like, for instance, I like to play craps, you know, at casinos and stuff. And there is a system that I use. The entire purpose of the system, of the gambling strategy, is to basically not lose a lot of money. You're not going to win a lot. You're not going to lose a lot. You're just going to hang in and play at the table. You're going to get table time, just to hang out and have table time, you know? And so, like, that's what the system is for. But if I use that same system and I'm like, no, today I want to make money with this system, well, I'm not going to make... What? Oh my goodness. Come here, buddy. Oh, Poppy. He's a big boy. And I got 3 cats up here now. They're making up for last week. But if I use a system for a purpose it wasn't intended for, then I'm going to fail more than likely, and I'm going to be disappointed. So, maybe my craps analogy isn't very pertinent to the topic at hand. But point is that the CR system wasn't designed to have monsters fighting monsters. It was designed to create adequate challenges for a group of player characters. Vlad Dragoon, hey, thank you so much. I'm happy to hear you like the video tips and stuff, dude. Mad Milo says, have you checked out MCDM's Flea Mortals book? No, I haven't. I don't have it. I have so many books on my shelf that I haven't read that even if I owned it, the chances are very high that I wouldn't have time to read it. How complicated is Dungeon Drifters? Dungeon Drifters is not complicated at all. I can explain the rules to somebody in about 5 minutes and we start playing. It's very simple. It's super simple. There is a I don't know if we have it on, hold on a second. I don't know if it's over here, but we have a sample. We have an explanation of the rules somewhere right here. If you click this, if you go over here and just click this, it's going to explain the rules, like a high level how to play, and you're going to see it's super simple. And then I have to edit this video yet, but I have a gameplay video where my friend Kevin and I literally played the game together, and I filmed it all. And I'm planning on editing that tomorrow. I think it's on my calendar for tomorrow. And then once I have that edited, it will be up here too. And then you can literally watch a sample gameplay session of the two of us playing the game, and you're gonna see how simple it is. So it's not complicated. And that's in fact, that was one of our principal what do you want to call it? Parameters for designing the game. We wanted to make a game that was not complicated, that was pretty simple, that anybody could just kind of pick up and play. And so like if you have casual friends or like family members who aren't like, you know, super hardcore like the rest of us, but you want to introduce them to the genre, you know, this is what we were thinking. A board game, here we go. Rules light, introduce them to the idea, the genre of the game, have fun and play. So that's kind of the idea of this, but not complicated at all. We do have optional rules. We have several rules that we were designing this game, and like we were getting feedback, and people were like, wouldn't it be cool if, wouldn't it be cool if, wouldn't it be cool if? And so we started to develop all of these wouldn't it be cool if ideas into the core game. And then it got too complex, and we're like, whoa, we're breaking one of our fundamental design principles of making it not complex. And so we were like, but these are all really good ideas. Yes, they are, but it's not in alignment with the game. So with our core principles. And so what we did is we took all those wouldn't it be cool things out of the core game, and we made them optional rules. And so you are going to find that there are optional rules that you can add onto the game if you want to, that will increase its complexity, but you don't have to use them. For instance, dominating monsters, taking control of monsters, that's an optional rule. So like as you're dungeon delving, we have an optional rule where you can literally take control of monsters and use them to on your side to fight other monsters. But that obviously controlling minions increases the complexity of a game, so we made that an optional rule. And so what you're going to find then is the base rules are going to be really easy to use, you know, and then there's some optional stuff that if you want to add other depths to the gameplay, you can do that. So you'll that's one of the features of the game. All right, looking for more questions. Buscando says, any advice for fun items to use for a kids game? I'm using Hero Kids, but the items are not that epic. I don't know what Hero Kids is. Oh wait, isn't Hero Kids oh, hold on a second. Hero Kids is one of those TTRPGs that's designed for kids, right? I think it is. I think I made a video about that. I think what you have to do is I would take some of the base items from their game and I would homebrew them. I would make them more interesting. Just brainstorm different things you can do to them to spice them up and make them more interesting. Or you can take an interesting item from a different game like D&D or Pathfinder 2 and then just tweak it and homebrew it so that it fits into the Hero Kids TTRPG. But I would just homebrew some stuff and make it more interesting. I don't think that when you're playing with kids, balance is like, I don't know. When I play with younger kids, I will always err on the side of giving them too much cool stuff rather than too little, because I want the game to be super fun and appealing to them and for them to be like, oh, I got all this cool loot and magic items and all this cool stuff. So like with adults, I would generally be like, I don't want to give them too much because then I break the game and you can't take it away from them and it causes, I might be more concerned about that sort of thing with adults, but not with kids. Kids, I'd just like, whatever, just take a bunch of cool stuff. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, they get all excited, and then half the time they forget they have it anyway. Remember, half the time players forget they have this cool stuff. They don't use it anyway. So, you know, you have less to worry about. So I would just give them make some cool stuff up, give them some cool stuff, and then they'll have fun. Traveling Ashlar says, Luke, I just got my copies of your Kickstarter books this week. They are gorgeous. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that. He's talking about Layers and Legends 2 books. Those are fulfilling, well, for US and Canadian backers, Layers and Legends 2 has already fulfilled. And then Australia, New Zealand, and that part of the world, they should be fulfilling like soon, very soonish. I don't have a particular update on that besides saying that they were going to do it very soon. And then UK, I think we're still trying to, we need to get them more books, and I actually need to follow up with my fulfillment partner to see where we are on getting those books. I should send him a message right now. I'm going to send him a text right now before I forget, because I asked him to tell me what was up, to give me an update, and I don't think I never got an update. So I'm going to hound him again to get me a status update. What's the status? What's the status of the UK shipment? There we go. Fun stuff. All right. Let's see. Find some more questions here. Lisa Hernandez says, what do you think of a character using the magic jar spell being used to tap Jarlaxle Benray's soul and then the sorcerer swapping bodies with him so he control the Brigarans? I can't pronounce some of those words. I know what you're talking about, though. Well, okay, unfortunately, you're going to have to go down because you're causing a problem here. All the other cats will sit off to the side, but Twitch has to be like in my face. So we're gonna look up magic jar together because I want to see what that actually does. I have like a general idea of it, but magic jar. I'm gonna just see. Care magic jar. You can attempt to possess the body of any human within 100 feet of you. On a failed save, your soul enters the target's body and the target's soul becomes trapped in the container. On a successful save, the target resists traps. Okay. All right. How long does it last? It lasts until dispelled. Oh, baby. Wow. Huh. I mean, I didn't read it in too much depth, but it sounds like you could do it. It sounds like you could totally do that. So the only thing I would say is Jarlaxle is renowned for his magical protections. Like, if you read the stories, the books about Jarlaxle and stuff, and this may be true in some of the source material, like campaign setting stuff for Jarlaxle, but he has so many different magic items on him that are protective, that protect him against various different things. And the books kind of allude to it, but they don't spell out everything, obviously. So like the only thing I would say is that Jarlaxle almost assuredly has a magic item that protects him from mind control or for having somebody possess him or something. I feel like that would be like for sure within the realm of protections that he would have on himself. Like, I'm pretty sure he's got something, the eye patch Jarlaxle wears, that, I think, if I remember correctly, it actually tells you in one of the books what it does. I think it helps him see invisible creatures, and it might protect him from petrification or something. I'm forgetting exactly. But his hat's magical. It turns into like a black hole, a portable hole or something. The little plume on his hat turns into a gigantic underdark bird that will attack people. He's covered with magic items. So like, I feel like possession is something that he would have protection against. I really do, because yeah. So anyway, that's the only caveat I would say. I think it's a cool idea. I think that Magic Jar sounds like it works that way. My only concern would be like Jarlaxle could have protection against that, and it would be up. The character might try to do a possession, it would fail, and then at that point the character would need to research and try to figure out what is going on, why did it fail, and then they could try to get that magic item away from Jarlaxle if they actually wanted to try to do this thing. So I would not make this a save or suck where Jarlaxle has just like one roll of the die and then the possession happens or doesn't happen. I would turn this more into a puzzle to be solved. Like, well, you tried to possess him, but something repelled you. It's almost, and then they could be like, what repelled me? And then they could figure out that there's some sort of magic protection. And then it would become like, the mission would be, how do we figure out what this is? And then how do we get it away from him so that we can actually try to possess him if they want to continue with that. So I would not make this an easy thing for them to accomplish. This should be a challenging thing for them to accomplish, and then even then, once they're in his body, they don't have access to all of his knowledge and his mind and stuff like that. So then they would still have to carry out this deception, of pretending to be Jarlaxle, which might involve research and trying to figure out how do I imitate him best. So this is not an easy thing that they're proposing doing, right? And it shouldn't be, right? Like taking possession of him and then controlling Brigandareth or controlling the House Benray, that should not be an easy thing for a player to accomplish. That should be challenging for them. And it shouldn't just be one die roll and then life is a cakewalk. It should literally be something they have to plan and actually execute in an intelligent way for it to actually work. Because if it isn't, if it's just one die roll and boom, everything works, well then, geez, man, that's really easy to just take control of Brigandareth and take control of House, or influence at the very least House Benray or whatever, however you pronounce it. So yeah, don't make that easy for your players. But it sounds like it should work. If it takes work, but they could work. Yeah. Okay. If I missed your question, feel free to repost it. There's a lot of stuff to scroll through. Glacial Relic says, add goth mommies to the rule set and my life is yours. I have no idea what goth mommies are. Is this going to be a dangerous, if I Google search this, is this a dangerous search for me? Should I be concerned about Google searching this? I feel like the answer is yes. What the heck does that mean? Oh, okay, I got it. So they're really just mothers who are also goth. Okay. I got it. I mean, there's a little bit of problematic search results here, but at least I understand what it is now. Lisa says yes, don't search that. Don't search it. We warned you. Don't turn off safe search. I mean, I think safe search is on. I think I have it on because nothing horrible came up. Nothing horrible came up. But the AI response at the top told me what it meant, so now I understand. Yeah. Do you have any ideas for a unique country government system? Not off the top of my head. I'll be honest with you, ChatGPT does a really good job of brainstorming ideas. It's really good for brainstorming ideas. You might try that, but I don't have anything off the top of my head. I'm running a Dark Sun campaign. Reading and writing is banned on this campaign. Reading and writing is banned, so nobody can read and write in the campaign. Okay. I came up with a way for a wizard to learn spells by using memory shards, but I need a way for others to use scrolls. Okay, so you need a way to use scrolls that isn't reading or writing. So then the scroll is a verbal scroll. The scroll, when you open up the scroll, there's just a bunch of runes or something on it, maybe, or the scroll itself, just when you unfurl it, it's empty, or whatever, and then it just verbally recites the contents of the scroll, and then you literally just repeat back what the scroll says. There's my idea for you. I don't know if that works or not, but I gave you something. I gave you something. What D&D or fun events would you recommend going to this year? Killer Kitty, hello. What's up, dude? So I mean, you should go to the conventions that I'm going to, because then you can come say hi and we could talk and stuff. That would be cool. Then this is for anybody, not just Killer Kitty. So I'm planning to go to Chaosium Con in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I'll be there on Friday and Saturday is my current plan. So if you're around there, then come say hi to me there. After that, I'll be at Gen Con. So if you can find me in the disastrous, massive mess of population that is Gen Con, that'd be cool. Come say hi. What is it? Gamehole Con? I'll be at Gamehole Con. Gamehole Con's October. I'd go to that. Gamehole Con's super cool. I like Gamehole Con a lot. Last year was my first year going to Gamehole Con, and it was lots of fun. It is how do I say it? It's a smaller convention that doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like a smaller convention. It's got tons of different games and events, and people are there. You know, like industry people are there. A lot of some YouTubers go there and stuff. So it's like, it doesn't feel like it's not a massive con, but it doesn't feel like you're out in the sticks. You know what I mean? At like a small local con that almost nobody knows about. You know, so it's got the appeal of a larger con without like the massive population of Gen Con overwhelming your senses. You know, so Gamehole Con was fun. I really enjoyed it. It was lots of fun. And there's free parking. Parking is very easy. You know, you don't have to be like, oh, how am I going to find a parking spot? And it's just really simple. It's really simple. And it's in Madison, Wisconsin, which has an amazing Thai restaurant. Like if you like pad Thai, it has like the most amazing pad Thai restaurant in the world. Okay, now I'm going to have to show you this place. Okay, let's go to Madison, Wisconsin. Go to the Google Maps. Open up Maps, baby. Open up Maps. Oh, I don't know why it's so hard for it to go to Maps. Okay. Madison, Wisconsin. Okay. So if you're going to go to Gamehole Con, you have to eat at this place. Let's see. Where was this place? I'm pretty sure I have it hearted. Where's my hearts? What are these things? Nope, this place sucked. Don't go there. Where's my heart? Usually you can see the hearts on here. Where's that Thai place? All right, hold on a second. Thai food. Was it this one? Thai's Asian Bistro? Was this the place? I think that might have been the one. Where was that pad Thai place? Yeah, I think that's the one. Yeah, this looks like it was the one. Let me open this up. Show me the street view. If I can see the street view, I'll know if this is the place or not. Or the kitchen, or like the interior of the restaurant. Show me what the interior of the restaurant looks like. Yes. Yes, that is the place. A street view would really still be nice. I'm pretty sure this is it. This definitely looks like the place. And I do not know why I don't have this in my heart collection. Because it really should be. But this place is great. So I need to heart this. I have it saved. I should save that in my favorites. Not in my want to go, because I've been there. That's my favorites. Okay, so this place right here, if you go to Gamehole Con, eat at Thai's Asian Bistro. Get their pad Thai. Their pad Thai is amazing. My wife was eating their soup. Their soup is amazing. This place is awesome. Go here. Absolutely go here. It's very good. There's a lot of, it looks like there's a lot of like Thai restaurants, but you want to go to Thai's Asian Bistro. That's the place to go if you go to Gamehole Con. Now you know. All right. Okay. So those are the things I would go to. The ones that I know about, the ones that I go to, that I think are fun. Yeah. Do you have a calendar on a website? You can go to my, okay, so in every single one of my YouTube videos, if you go into the description and then scroll down toward the bottom, you will see a list of all the conventions I go to. I literally put the list of the conventions. So every single year, you will know the conventions I'm going to if you want to come to a convention that I'm at. So it's in every single video. Every single video. You can go into the description and see the list. Oh yeah, leave a like. Thank you. Leave a like on this video if you're enjoying this video. Don't forget, guys, we have a giveaway going on. There's a link down in the chat. There's a link in the chat to the giveaway. Click it, join the giveaway. It's free to join, and the winner is going to get $50 DM Lair store credit. We will draw the winner at the end of the live stream today. So join the giveaway. It's free. You get free crap. Usually only about 30 people join. So if you join the giveaway, you have a really good chance of winning the money and then being able to buy a whole bunch of books for your games and stuff. So join the giveaway. And our next Kickstarter, Dungeon Drifters, is launching next Tuesday, April 8th. So this is the prototype game. It comes with 46 acrylic minis. These are a couple of the prototypes. These are a couple of the ones with the artwork I like the most. This is the massive mouths, and this is gloom sludge right here. So you're going to get 46 of these full color double-sided acrylic minis. There's over 100 full color playing cards, and then a bunch of the gobs of dice. I think it's 52 dice. It's about 50 or so. I forget the exact number. You can go over to our Kickstarter page, which I also have linked down in the description, pinned comment and stuff like that, and you can read more about it. It'll show you that we have amazing artwork, beautiful artwork. We have 3 artists doing the artwork, and then we have our cartographer doing the maps. Is super awesome. He's our best cartographer. So you can read about the project over here. All the different stuff about the project is over on our preview page or whatever. If you click the link down in the description, so that'll launch next Tuesday, and it'll launch at 12 p.m. Eastern. And if you back within the first 72 hours, you will get a free mini Verith the Fallen Protector included with your pledge. First 72 hours. So make sure you back within the first 72 hours, is 3 days, if you want to get a free mini. And the free mini is super cool. So you don't want to miss that. Like, if you're gonna back, you might as well back and get the free mini, right? Polar Bear Buddy says, is there a limit on what you think a first-time DM should do? I have an awesome idea for my campaign, but I don't know if I should have more experience before I do it in my campaign. So, one thought in my brain is, yeah, if you try to do too much, you might not do it super well. Or if you do something crazy, it might not turn out that well. You know, it's always a possibility. Failure is always a possibility. But here's the thing. I very strongly feel that if you are excited about something, then you should probably do it. For a couple reasons. One, if you're excited about it, you're almost assuredly gonna put way more effort into it and do a better job of implementing that thing than if you were to do something safer that you're not excited about, right? When we're excited about stuff, our passion shows and we put everything we have into it, you know what I mean? And then we usually have better results than when we're not excited about something and we're just going through the motions. And so I think my gut response is yes, do it. Is it complex? Is it beyond your current abilities or knowledge or something? Maybe, but who cares? You're excited about it, just do your best and try it. Your players are probably gonna have fun. And I think too, a lot of times when we're excited about something, our excitement is contagious and it bleeds over into the people around us. So if you think the idea is cool and you're having fun doing it and you're implementing it, your players will probably pick up on that, and they might they're probably going to get excited about it as well. Not necessarily, you know, they might not care, but the chances are much higher if you're excited about it that they will be too, and you're going to probably run a better game because you're excited about it. It's always safe. Well, if I had to choose between playing it safe and doing something that I'm really excited about, I would choose doing something I'm really excited about, because you're gonna have at least you know you are gonna have more fun trying the thing. I'm running a new type of game right now with one of my groups. We're running it's called a Godstein style of play, and Harmony Ginger told me about it. I had her on stream a while ago, and she was telling me about this, and I was like, this sounds super cool. Actually, I was talking with her on Twitter about it, and I was like, this sounds super cool. And then I had her on live stream to talk about it. I'm like, this sounds really cool. And so now I literally started up a campaign. It's using the Shadow Dark system, but I started up a Shadow Dark campaign with using this new Godstein system that I had no idea how to run it. Zero idea. I'd never heard of it before. It uses some old school stuff like one-to-one timekeeping and the Brownstein, and then she did a mishmash with stuff, and now it's a Godstein, right? And so I'm like, I have no idea what this is. I have no idea how to do this, but it sounds amazing. And so I'm like, I'm gonna do it. And so I got the game set up, and we're playing on Start Playing, you know, and we have 6 players, so it's a full game right now. But so we're playing, and I had no idea how to do this, and I was just learning, and I'm doing something for the first time, you know, but I was excited about it. And it seems that so far the players are having fun and they're enjoying it. So like, this is like my example of me doing something for the first time and having no idea, right, what the heck I was doing. So I would definitely encourage you, if you're excited about something, go do it, go do the thing, because you're gonna have you're at least you are gonna enjoy it, and there's a high probability your players are gonna enjoy it, you know. So yeah, definitely try it. Definitely try it if it gets you excited. All right. Where do you get your inspiration for your big bads? I don't know. I usually just think about it. I just think about it. I don't know. Uh, I think sometimes it's from looking through monster manuals. I'll see a really cool guy, a bad guy, and he's like high level, and then I'll just start to brainstorm from there. And I'll be like, well, okay, this he's a CR 15. That looks really cool. All right. I think I want to have this guy be like the big bad of my campaign. And then I start to brainstorm. Well, then, okay, he's going to be the big bad. Okay, cool. What is he doing? What are his goals? What makes him the big bad? Okay, well, this is his goal. All right, cool. So he wants to do this thing. Now, because every big bad's going to have a goal. They're going to have an objective, something they're seeking to accomplish. Even if chaos and watching the world burn, even if their objective is as simple as that, they have an objective. So you think about what their objective is, and then you ask then the next thing is, okay, this is what they want to achieve. Okay, how does that create conflict in the game world? There has to be conflict. Every good story, every good D&D game has conflict. You must have conflict. So how does their goal create conflict in the game world? And then you brainstorm what that conflict looks like, right? And then you ask, okay, well, this is the big bad. Okay, well, who are his lieutenants? Who's working for him? And then you find other cool monsters that will serve as his lieutenants. And these are lower CR monsters that your players, as they go through the campaign, are going to encounter on their way, right? As they work their way up to the big bad. And then you think about, okay, who are their minions and stuff? And you start to flesh out this like menagerie of big bad and the hierarchy of different lieutenants below it. And they should all be monsters and creatures that you are excited about, that you think are really, really, really cool, and that you are excited to use in the game, right? And then you want to start asking yourself, well, okay, so why do these lieutenants work for the big bad? Like, what's their goal? What's their motivation? Why are they working for him? You know, and all that kind of sort of stuff. And some of them, like the big bad, might have dirt on some of them, and he's manipulating them. Some of them might, you know, do it because they, you know, whatever. You got to come. They need to have their own motivation stuff. So you start to think about this stuff, and you start to develop this idea. You know what I mean? And then you start and that's like that's usually like the development of the big bad and their motivations and the conflict in the world, and then who their minions and lieutenants and stuff are. That usually is like where I start with every campaign. You know, when I start thinking about a campaign concept, it usually starts with who the big bad is. Usually, not always, not always. I have obviously the campaign I'm running right now for Shadow Dark has not being run like that at all. I could even say that the well, no, I was gonna say my Pathfinder 2 Thieves Abound campaign didn't start like that, but it kind of did. It kind of did because I had a general idea of who I wanted the big bad to be. The first thing I found was a part of the world that I wanted the campaign to take place in, because I thought this part of the world was really cool. And then as I read about that part of the world of Eberron, it's in Eberron, I was thinking about the different creatures there, and I was like, oh, this is who the big bad is. Okay, cool. And then everything started developing. So, that's usually how I do big bads and think about them and develop them and all that kind of good stuff. I'm looking at DMing virtually. Do you have any recommendations on computer equipment, behind the scenes equipment, or VTT for ease of use for a newer dungeon master? So I personally use, if we're just talking about virtual tabletops, I personally use Foundry, VTT. It's really nice. It does a lot of good things. I'm not sure if you're not super like computer like skills literate inclined and stuff, Foundry VTT has, in my opinion, a pretty steep learning curve compared to something like Roll20. Roll20 has a very low learning curve, in my opinion. I first learned how to use Roll20, and then afterwards I learned how to use Foundry VTT. And Foundry VTT had a big learning curve for me, even though I had already learned another VTT. Many times, if you already know, generally speaking in life, when you already know something, there's less of a learning curve when you transition to something adjacent to it. You know what I mean? But Foundry still had a pretty decent learning curve for me. So I would say that Roll20 is probably very friendly. Like if you're a new game master, if you are a new game master, you already have enough stuff going on, right? Like, are you a new game master? Did you say that? Where is it? Where is this question again? Virtually. You say you are a newer DM. Yeah. So if you're a newer DM to begin with, then I would say go with a virtual tabletop that's easy to use. And in my opinion, Roll20 is pretty easy to use. Once you get into Foundry, there are like modules and things to install. It gets a little complicated. I would not dink around with that. Go with something simple like Roll20. It's very, very simple to use. And Roll20 has, because of the competition of Foundry and other VTTs, Roll20 has been forced to get back on their game and actually add features to their virtual tabletop that are very nice, that they should have had a long time ago, but they didn't because they were just resting on their laurels because they were first to market and they were just like, we're the biggest, so we don't have to do anything. But then competition forced them to realize, oh crap, if we don't make our VTT better, we're going to get screwed and everybody's going to leave us. And so they started to make improvements to their VTT, and now they have a lot of really nice things there. You know, so I think Roll20 is probably a good place to start, just for ease of use, you know, and it's very inexpensive. You're probably going to want to get like the subscription to it. I think it's like $5 a month, but your players won't have to pay anything. But you get some additional little features and perks that, if I remember correctly, made it worth it for me to pay the extra $5 a month or something. What other parts of your question in here? Computer equipment, behind the scenes equipment. I mean, computer equipment. I will tell you, having 2 monitors makes game mastering online way easier. Usually what I do is on one monitor, I have my VTT, and then we play with cameras. Like, one of the requirements of my online games is you must have your camera on. You have to have a camera. If you don't have a camera, I'm sorry, but nope, sorry, you're not playing, because I need to be able to see your faces. I think the game it's easier for me to run a game when I can see your face, and I think it's a better game experience when other players can see these other players. So I'm like mumbling now, but because it's like a tangent. But anyway, so cameras, and then the VTT on one screen, and then the other screen over here, I have like usually I'll have ChatGPT up. You know, if I need to do some brainstorming really quick. I will have, if I'm playing D&D 5th edition, D&D Beyond is over there on a tab, you know, and I'll just have like, if I'm playing Shadowdark, I'll have like the PDF opened up so that I can like search for like monster stat blocks and stuff really quickly in the PDF and stuff. So like so the 2 monitor setup is pretty important. Now, I actually have 3 monitors, and so what I put on the 3rd monitor usually is Discord, because I'll keep track of time for all of my games. I think all my online games, I keep track of the time, you know, the time of day, like 12 o'clock, is it 12:15, is it 1 o'clock, etc. on Discord. And so like the 3rd monitor has Discord up over there. So I will tell you that now, regardless of how you personally set up your monitors and screens and stuff, I will definitely tell you that having at least 2 monitors makes running online way easier. If I only had 1 monitor, I think it would be way more challenging for me to run an online game. I couldn't do it as efficiently and effectively and as quickly, right? The other thing too is that if you're running it off from a little tiny laptop screen, that could be a big pain in the butt. Make sure you have a mouse too. Sit there, try with that little touchpad or whatever. Have a mouse or something. You're gonna want to be able to click stuff, and you know, because remember, running a smooth game is like huge. Running one of the things that makes a D&D game exceptional is that it's a smooth game where you're able to just keep the pace going, right? And you're not pausing for long periods of time, you know, looking stuff up, or like the game isn't like bogged down because the players are waiting on you. You want to keep the game moving and run a smooth game. It's super important. And when you're running online, technology interfering with your game getting in the way of gameplay is one of the biggest things that disrupts a smooth game and makes a game suck when technology won't work. So like, I think it's so like having your setup proper and like being able to, have everything work smoothly and efficiently is important for running an online game. And this is a reason why when a player's virtual tabletop isn't working or something, or they have a problem, I'll tell my players, hey, if your character sheet in Foundry is not working, then just roll the dice from the dice roller in the lower right hand corner. Just type in /roll space 2d6, roll your dice that way. If your character sheet doesn't work, just print out the PDF of your character sheet, use a physical character sheet, and roll dice on the virtual tabletop manually. It's okay. So if technology breaks, have workarounds, things that you can do to keep the gameplay moving. The last thing I want to do is sit here for 20 minutes and try to figure out why somebody's character sheet in Roll20 or Foundry VTT isn't working properly. It is a waste of our time and nobody's having fun, And now I run paid games, so it's even more important that we don't waste our time. It's a 4-hour game session. They're paying to play. So it's like if we spend 20 minutes dinking around with a character sheet that won't work, like everybody's losing out on their investment. Like they came for 4 hours of play and technology is screwing them over. So like we can't have that at all. Now, it's still important if you're just running a normal unpaid game, because like you still don't want players to be bored out of their minds because of technology doesn't work, So I think, I don't know, those are some important things to consider. Having technology in order, having your setup and stuff so that you can run a smooth game that everybody finds enjoyable. Okay, more questions. If you asked the question and I missed your question, feel free to repost it. Nobody's gonna bonk you for spamming. In fact, I don't think I've seen a moderator this entire stream. So I think we are pretty much flying solo right now. There is nobody even here that might bonk you on the head. Charlie Gardner says the alt covers for Lairs and Legends 2 are beautiful. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate that. I do think they turned out amazing. Absolutely. William Fiango says, have you used any AI tools to create content? What are your thoughts on using AI? I absolutely use ChatGPT for certain things. 100%. It helps with efficiency and productivity. 100%. I saw somebody, I think that was a post on LinkedIn or something. I don't go on LinkedIn usually, but like I still get notification emails in my personal email account. And no, this was on Twitter. I think this was on Twitter. Somebody was saying that, somebody who uses any sort of AI and justifies it as increasing productivity is the sort of person that doesn't do any work anyway. And I was like, this person's an idiot. This person's an idiot. There are multiple ways that I integrate the use of ChatGPT into the different things that I do to make me more productive and to help me do things quicker and more efficient than I would otherwise. So yes, I 100% do it where it makes sense and where it's ethical, to do so. So, but if you're running D&D games and stuff, you can use it to brainstorm stuff for you. You can use it to create entire towns for you. You can use it to create NPCs for you. You'd be shocked at what it could spit out for you. I think it takes a human brain to direct it, to give it proper prompts. It takes a human brain to review what it created to make sure that it's okay. You know what I mean? But if you're running just a personal private game for you and your friends and stuff, just spit that crap out, and and leverage it to like, save you tons of time on doing stuff, you know. Especially if it's stuff that you don't enjoy doing, you know what I mean? That way you can like have it do stuff you don't like, that you don't find enjoyable, and you can spend your time doing the parts of the game that you do find enjoyable, you know. If you start to get, if you're talking about publishing and stuff, well, then that's a whole different can of worms, right? Then you got some ethical concerns, you know. But if it's a personal private game, you know, dude, rock and roll, man. It just saves you time. All it's doing is saving you time. It's not like you were going to pay somebody to write out your adventure for your private game. It wasn't like you were going to pay somebody to like create a town for your private game. You know, you weren't. You were going to do it yourself. So instead of like taking 5 hours to do it, it takes 5 minutes to do it using AI to help you. So you're not stealing jobs from anybody. You're literally just saving your own time and making yourself more productive. That's the way to use it. All right, let's see. Looking for more questions. Keith Burnett says, is your interest in Pathfinder 2 waning? Are you still more prone to make 5e content? Yeah, my interest in Pathfinder 2 is definitely waning. As far as me running games for it. I have all my games for my Thieves Abound Pathfinder 2 campaign are posted online. They're on my DM Lair Streams channel. It's a YouTube channel where I post almost all of my home games and stuff like that. But yeah, we actually literally at our last game session that we had on my Pathfinder 2 campaign, I told my players, we were playing the game and then like somehow the topic came up and I literally told them, I'm like, guys, I'm ready to stop playing Pathfinder 2 whenever you are. You know, we've been playing now for about a year, and like I was just like, guys, I'm done. Like when you guys like, I'm happy to keep running this for you. Like I don't want to just like stop or whatever, but whenever you guys are feeling like you're ready to move on to a different game system, I'm ready. And so we're actually going to transition to Call of Cthulhu. I have the starter set, and I've always enjoyed playing Call of Cthulhu at conventions and stuff. Lots of fun. And so like we're gonna transition that. So the guys that play at my table back here, we're gonna transition to a Call of Cthulhu game. And I think the principal reason that I think that I got tired of Pathfinder 2, I think there's two reasons. There's two reasons Pathfinder 2 got like where I didn't want to run it anymore. The first one is combat, the conditions, all of the conditions, and tracking all the conditions. It just gets so old in combat. We are tracking all these little +1s and -1s and all these little conditions and things. Oh my gosh, the tracking of that is so tedious. And so I don't like that. And the other thing that is really hard about designing encounters in Pathfinder 2 is because there is no bounded accuracy and the game just progresses, like the math just progresses in a mostly linear fashion. A monster that is a challenge for a level 2 character can't be used once that character is at say level 5 or level 6. It just, because all the math progresses linearly, it can't be used, period, end of story. You'd have to like scale it up. And there are online tools for doing that. I know there are, and I've used them before, but it's still a pain. So like, if I want to have, for instance, my characters now are like, I think my players are level 6 or 7. And if I wanted to have them fight, say a werewolf, I think a werewolf is like a CR. It's like well, they don't call it CR. It's like a level 3 or level 4. That would be really, I'd have to have a lot of werewolves, and my players would probably beat the living tar out of them. I couldn't even use them anymore. And so what I'm finding in Pathfinder 2 is that as the game gets higher and higher in level, there's a lot of these cool monsters that I just can't use anymore unless I were to scale them up. And that's a big pain in the butt for me. And so that kind of becomes like a downer for me when I'm creating adventures because I can't use these monsters. And so if you look at a system like D&D 5th edition, this is a big advantage of D&D 5th edition. Because of the bounded accuracy, you can still use these lower CR monsters at higher levels. The rule of the thumb is increase their to hit bonus a little bit, or increase the DC of their spell casting. If you do that, then they can still hit and they're still a threat, and their spells might still land. And I don't even adjust the CR for it. I just increase those things, and then those monsters are still a threat. It's a very fast thing to do, and you can run the game. Adjust because math is so tight in Pathfinder 2. That's you can't just do that. It's quite so easily. You got to adjust kind of everything. So I think those are the two reasons that I'm kind of just waning on my desire to play Pathfinder 2 in a way. There are lots of things I like about the game system, that initially drew it to me and stuff. But I think I've just kind of I've run through that cycle of now it's old to me and I want to try something different, So that's kind of where I am in Pathfinder 2. All right, looking for more questions. Congratulations on 100 Q&A streams. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Arena Colosseum type side or mini game. Any advice on making those? I don't really do those sorts of things, so I don't think I have a whole lot of advice for you. There was a guy who made a little subsystem for D&D 5th edition that did something like that. And Fry Minis, it's something I'm forgetting his name. It was a YouTuber. It was something Fry Minis or something. Maybe somebody here in chat knows who I'm talking about and can drop his name. But he literally made a little subsystem or something, I think. And he came to our very first Lair Con. We used to run a convention. We did it for 2 years, and then we're yeah, this is too much work, and we're losing lots of money. So we were yeah, we're not gonna do this anymore. But he came to one of our very first Lair Con, something Fry Minis. That's all I can remember. But he did something that I think sounds very similar to what you're talking about. Polar Bear Buddy says, I am a first-time DM, and your videos have been super helpful for planning my campaign. I'm glad I finally made it to a stream. Well, awesome. I'm very happy to be able to help. And welcome to your first stream. I think I answered one of your questions too. Yay! Princess Canuta, hello, welcome. I'm way back in time right now. I'm back in time. That looks like my desk when I'm trying to work full of cats. Yes. Oh, I'm super way back in time. All right, let's go. Oh, I have a super chat. I should probably address the super chat. XMexix, thank you for the super chat. Do you use the same setting for your campaigns, or do you create a new world for each game? How do you organize your notes for it? Okay, well, this really just depends. So the answer, do I use the same setting for my campaigns? Not always. For the longest time, I used Forgotten Realms for all of my campaigns. But then I started to really like Eberron. I played a game called Dungeons and Dragons Online. We called it DDO for short. For a long time, I played that game, and it was set in Eberron. And Eberron was it was a cool setting. And then when I got the Eberron book that D&D 5th edition released, I was I love the Eberron book. They did a really good job in the Eberron book. And so I was I have a campaign setting for Eberron. I love Eberron. And so one of my games, my Pathfinder 2 Thieves Abound game, transitioned. When we started that up, we were using Eberron campaign setting. And then what is it? My other D&D game is taking place in my own homebrew world. That is the Into the Fae world. And now we're playing Escape from the Fae in that world. So it's my own homebrew world that I made up. It's a region of a world. It's not an entire world and everything. It's a very small region. And then right now, what we're doing for my Shadow Dart campaign that I'm running, that we're running a Goldstein method of play. Which if you type, can you find it? Let me see. Goldstein. Goldstein D&D. Let's see. You probably can't. Google might not help you find it because it's not super prominent or well known or whatever. But we're running a different type of gameplay where what we did in the first 2 game sessions is the players. Come on, buddy. Come on. Are you gonna come up here? Or are you gonna look at me? He doesn't want to come up here. Come on. There we go, buddy. Come on. So the first 2 game sessions, my players were role-playing deities in the world, and they were literally taking turns creating the world, placing different features and stuff, having different events happen. They were, for 2 game sessions, they were the deities creating the world. and they created the world. They created it, and then we have documentation, where they were documenting different things about the world. So that was them. They did the world creation, and that's part of running the Godstein campaign. And now they have made normal characters, and we're about to start adventuring in that world that they created, that they took turns creating. And that was super fun, and we came up with some really cool elements in that world. The last part of the question was, how do you organize your notes for it? So let me show you I'm just gonna pull up OneNote. I use OneNote for a lot of my documentation. Let me go over here. Let's see. I'll just show you some stuff. You're not gonna be able to see a lot of this because the resolution is super high, and so everything is really small. This is just how I look at everything. But this is like, I just have like different tabs, So I have a tab with stuff about the world, and then there are different pages over here that talk about different things. Here's a thing with different locations that I have like written out, so that I can find it quickly. I have NPCs in groups, different things that talks about here. And then I have, there was from Eberron campaign, I have a similar thing. I just document things. I have house rules. I have things about the Marar holds, just different. This is an entire city that I have documented out. All the different stuff about the city is documented here, and here are some other cities and some different stuff. And then I have, where is it? Where is the Waterdeep? Oh yeah, I have Waterdeep is probably the one I have the most documented, the most stuff about Waterdeep, just like tons. Because I ran campaigns in Waterdeep for a long time. So I have tons of stuff documented in Waterdeep, but I do a lot of the stuff in OneNote, just like that. And then the Godstein campaign, where the players are deities creating their own world, that I created a Word document, not a Word document. I created a document in Google Doc, Google Sheet. What do they call that? It's the online equivalent. It's Google's equivalent of Word, and I forget what they call that thing. But I just created a document there where the players could all just start documenting different things about the world. And so that's kind of evolving and whatnot at the moment. So, but my preference is to document with OneNote. And like I just showed you, because it keeps everything nice and organized and stuff. You could probably do something like that with like Word, but it's going to get complicated very fast. Docs, is it called Docs? Okay, yeah. But it's like Killer Kitty says, if only someone wrote The Secret Art of Note-Taking, Game Mastering, and Preparation. That's a good idea. Somebody should do that book. It would be cool. Obsidian. Yeah, I've heard people talk about Obsidian. I don't know a whole lot about it though. But Crit Crab, you're probably the one that brought it up before. Yeah. Sassy Molassius says, I want to say thank you. I've been running my game for almost 2 years now, and it's because of you and all your content and advice that I've been able to have the confidence to be a DM. Awesome. Well, thank you. I'm very happy to help. Very, very happy to help. That's cool. Just keep it up. Keep it up. And contrary to that horrible video that somebody put out 2 days ago, there will continue to be lots of more videos about game mastery advice and crap like that. Jacob says, have you looked into Draw Steel? Any thoughts? No, I don't know anything about Draw Steel. Has it been released yet? I know it's been kickstarted, but have they actually released the book yet? I think, aren't they still like playtesting and creating it? So like, yeah, if I don't, yeah. I don't know how I would have too much of a formed opinion on it until I had the book in my hand and was able to actually look at it. I think that would be the challenge, right? Unless they've released playtest packets, but I'm so busy that I would have to have the book. Once I have a physical book, there's a much higher chance of me actually reading and learning about a new game system. But if something's only in PDFs, I'm probably not going to look at it. I like physical books. Okay, so Obsidian is complicated, but it's great for tech-savvy folks. Yeah, that's cool. I'm out. There's like nothing left in here. That's a big problem. Yeah, Foxy Project, I'm with you. I am not a fan of PDFs. Not a fan of PDFs at all. All right. Does this work? Nope, it doesn't work. All right. I'm gonna run bio. I'll be right back. I see a few questions up here. I'll get to these in a moment. While I'm off bioing, go join the giveaway. There's a link in the chat to the giveaway. Join it. We're gonna give away $50 DM Lair store credit. So go join the giveaway, and I'll be back momentarily. All right, I'm back. Just gotta get my tea set up here. D-drink? Let's D-drink? What does that mean? Do you think there was a better D&D edition? I mean, obviously that's a subjective question, right? Because every person is going to have their own preferences and what they think is better, you know. It's been so long since I've played the other editions, like in a real way. I don't even remember second edition that much. It's been so long since I played second edition. And then I have fond memories of previous editions before that, but I played them at conventions, so it's like a one-shot type of deal. And playing something as a one-shot is way different than playing an ongoing campaign in a game system, you know. 3.5, I really liked 3.5. I liked D&D 3.5. I thought that was really cool. I played that for a long time. There's something about the skill points, being able to increase your skill points and stuff. There's a lot of things I liked about 3.5. So, and then you got D&D 5th edition, which is really solid. I almost like, if I had to answer what my favorite edition was that I played, I almost feel like I would say I like 3.5. I really liked 3.5. I thought that was really cool. So maybe that might be my answer. But D&D 5th edition is good too. 5th edition is really solid too. What are my staple teas? Oh, I like herbal teas that have like different types of flavors and like stuff like fruit flavors and peppermint. There's like one that's like a blueberry acai or something, I think. I don't know. I like Earl Grey. I like English breakfast. What else? Lemon flavored. There's like orange, like a blood orange flavored. I like a variety of different teas. I think most most teas I like, you know. I'm not sure that there's been a tea that I like hated and it was like I never want this ever again. Most of them, I just like the different variety of flavors is really nice. Cherry green tea, ooh, that sounds good. That sounds really good. Oh, you spent some time working on a version of D that combines the fun of 3.5 and the smoothness of 5th edition? Yeah, that would be, yeah, because that's like the thing with 3.5 is that there are parts of it that aren't that smooth. And with D&D 3.5, you kind of had to plan out your entire character before you began playing it, because you could make some bad decisions that would impact whether you were able to do certain things down the road. So you basically had to plan out your entire character, what they were going to do at every single level. You had to plan that out from the very beginning in 3.5. Otherwise, you might not get the requirements for like a prestige class or something you were trying to do. You know, so like that was the thing with 3.5, but I didn't mind that, you know. Like if you knew the game system and you knew all the options, that character building like that was a lot of fun. You know, coming up with the concepts for the cool different things you were going to do with the characters, that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that part of the game. With 5th edition, you don't really got to do that. You can kind of just roll up a character and make decisions as you go, and it's not that big of a deal. Some planning is probably going to help you in some regards, but 3.5, like, kind of, you almost had. Well, if you were new to it, you didn't know what you're doing, then you didn't care because you didn't know, right? But once you had done it for a while and you understood more and you had been playing it for a while, then you had to kind of plan out your character from the get-go, which I thought was fine. I enjoyed that. Oh, I like chai tea too. Chai tea is very good. Yeah, I drink a lot of tea too. I usually have like here. This is where I work, right? And so usually what I'll have next to my computer here is I'll have a hot beverage, either decaf coffee or tea. Most of the day, I'll have that I'm drinking for most of the time that I'm working. Earl Grey, I love Earl Grey. Earl Grey's got this like nice little taste to it. Killer Kitty has a question. Would you consider Into the Fey to be a lot of talkie roleplay or more fight and explore? Well, here's the thing. I wrote it, and I like fight and explore, and I like talkie as a game master. I like all of those things, and so I feel like Into the Fey can be whatever your game master wants it to be. You could probably run that in a way. There are some of those adventures that could be run such that characters might be able to overcome the challenges without combat. That's a possibility. It might be hard in many of the cases, but it's a possibility. Now, some of the adventures, it's like, no, you kind of got to fight the crap, you know. But there's definitely lots of combat. There's lots of exploration. Combat and exploration are definitely features of the campaigns that I write, the books that I write, the adventures that I create. But social interaction, the talkie stuff, is as well, with a caveat. Your game master has to implement it. Like, you could, if a game master picks up Into the Fey or one of the adventures I wrote or whatever, everything they need in there, everything is there for awesome combat and awesome exploration and awesome talkie social interactions. But many game masters don't implement the talkie social interactions. They just like leave it out. So I feel like that's a caveat, right? Like, the game master has to implement it. Otherwise, yeah, it's not going to be present. So like, yeah. But I did not write Into the Fey to be heavy, for instance, on talkie or to be heavy on any of the features. I think I try to make it mostly balanced. I think, or it's according to my definition or what I feel a good balance is, obviously, because I have my own personal biases and perceptions on that and stuff. Leonhardt says, I haven't played 3.5, but have done some Pathfinder 2e. I don't like how many feats there are. It almost feels mandatory to plan out your character with the campaign's max level, or you're going to be whiffing a lot. Yeah, well, you know, for 3.5, you got to do some planning, like I was mentioning. For Pathfinder 2, I am not a player I was a player for a little bit in a Pathfinder 2 campaign, on and off, but mostly I've been a game master for Pathfinder 2. So I can't speak a whole lot to character planning and character creation in Pathfinder 2, except to say that I do not like it because it's too complex for my tastes. Way too complex. Like tediously complex. Like 3.5, I don't remember 3.5 being that complex to create characters. But Pathfinder 2, it's exceedingly complex. And for me at least, I mean, okay, so I feel like if I did it more, it wouldn't be as bad. So, but because I don't do it a whole lot, it seems complex to me. Okay, so this could just be the fact that I don't do it a whole lot. You know, I'm sure people that create lots of Pathfinder 2 characters are like, oh, it's not that bad. But you could make the argument that anybody who does anything a lot will get good enough at it and know it well enough that they'll be like, oh, that's not that bad. You'll be like, well, you know, a software developer would be like, oh yeah, C++ isn't that bad. Just, you know, you got to do memory management, but it's not that bad. Just, you know, you figure it out, you know. But like, if you don't do any, if you're like a novice at software development and all you've touched is Java, you know, C++ might seem challenging to you because you have to do memory management and Java takes care of it for you, you know. So like, yeah, I feel like that's an argument almost anybody can make with anything. Bye, Israel. See you next time, dude. Cody says, I've watched all your videos on making combat better, but they're still bored. I'm not implementing it well, obviously. Any other suggestions? Maybe your players don't want combat. Maybe they don't want combat. I mean, just try run some games with less combat and see if they like that, you know? Or just ask them what makes combat boring for you. Yeah, I know, but you jumped down there. You were up here and then you jumped down. That's your own problem. You got to find out why they're bored with combat. And then then you can try to fix it. You have to ask them, guys, you're still bored with combat. Why? What is it that makes it boring? Like literally set aside 20 minutes or whatever to have a discussion with your characters about why combat is boring for them. And then they will probably, I was going to say if they're not morons, but they probably should be a little softer. They should be able to explain to you why they feel combat is boring for them. And then once you know why, you can start to problem solve that and figure out, okay, they say it's boring because this, and this. Okay, cool. How can I fix these? How can I fix these? And then you start to think about it, right? Most of the time combat is boring because, most of the time, in my opinion, because of pacing. It takes too long to get around the table. You know, like this person is waiting for way too long before it's their turn again. And that makes it boring for them. In my opinion, that's probably the number one reason that most players, if a player feels combat is boring, that is most likely why they think it's boring, because it takes too long to get around the table before it's their turn again. So if you can minimize the time it takes to get around to their turn again, combat's gonna be more exciting. This is probably the number one reason that large combat in large groups can be a slog. Because when you have like more than 6 players, it can take a long time before it's your turn again. And man, you get bored waiting for it to be your turn, you know? So like that could be a thing. And then what is it? I had another thought. The other reason combat sometimes is really boring is because of how combat's designed. You know, if you only have one type of creature, that can be a boring combat because there's not enough variety in what's going on. And especially if you have one type of creature and there's just one of them, and then everybody just surrounds and pounds, it's super boring. You know, so a variety of creatures that have different abilities, they can do different things, like like a melee, a few melees, some ranged like archer types, and then a spellcaster. Variety. And then that creates a more interesting puzzle to be solved in the combat, you know, and gives players different things to do besides just going around one big ogre, let's say, and then attacking him. So But ultimately, the solution is asking your players, getting a list of the problems, the reasons they think combat is boring, and then solving, and then brainstorming and solving how you can get better at that, or how you can solve those specific problems. The cat has opinions. Yeah, the cat's opinion is that he should be the one receiving attention and not you all. That's the cat's basic opinion. Yeah. Revan Master says, for me, combat that takes too many rounds, literal rounds and not turns, bores me. Yeah, it just takes too long to resolve. What part of designing a game session or adventure do you find the most boring or loathsome? For me, it's making maps. Yeah, I don't make my own maps. Well, for online games, I use pre-made maps that I either buy from other people to make maps, or I use my own maps. I have a massive map collection that we've paid people to make maps for. I'll pick one of those or something. Or there's like online generators that will generate a map for you. Like what is it? Is that Shadow Dark? Yeah, for my Shadow Dark game, there's an online map generator that generates maps automatically in this beautiful old school style that it's perfect for Shadow Dark. So yeah, I don't make my own maps. I generate the map first. This is the trick. Get the map first that's kind of maybe what will work for the idea you have in mind, and then you prepare your adventure around the map. That's the way to do it. Map first, then design adventure. Get a map and the general idea of what you want to do, then design your adventure, and then you don't have to worry about that. But the thing that I probably like the least about designing adventures, I like looking at monsters and figuring out what the monsters are going to be. Treasure, secrets, stuff. What do I not like about designing adventures? I don't like writing read aloud text. I don't like writing that. I can. I'm good at it. I'm a good writer, but I don't like doing it. Fluffy, stupid crap. So like you know how at the beginning of like any adventure, before you get to the meat of the dungeon, like the areas, like for me, fleshing out the different areas of a dungeon and what's encountered in them is fun. But what I don't like is designing the fluffy crap, like NPCs and the quest giver, and like I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff in an adventure that's kind of fluff that I don't like having to figure out. Which isn't really a problem when I'm running my own adventures. But when you're publishing an adventure, then it sucks because I have to write all that crap and I hate writing it. I don't know that there's a lot that I don't enjoy about writing adventures. For me personally, designing an adventure is fun and enjoyable. I like doing it. It's cool. You know what I mean? So yeah, most of that process is very fun for me. It's very enjoyable. Designing it out and then seeing players play through it. That is probably, I would say that if you're asking me as a game master, what I find most enjoyable about being a game master, it is designing adventures, creating the adventure, and then running that adventure to game table and seeing what players do. You know, that's really fun for me. That's really fun. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, there you go. So my answer is like most of it I just like doing. See, now Kajic Cat likes making maps. Yeah. Do you drink your tea without sugar or anything added to it? Yeah, I do not add sugar to my tea. Oh, I don't add sugar to my coffee. Everything is black. Black. I had a friend from college, Austin, and he would say this thing that I thought was hilarious. This is back in college days, right? He'd drink coffee, right? And he would say, I like my coffee like I like my women, strong and black. That's what he would tell me. And I mean, I like strong, no sugar, no cream, nothing in tea or sugar. My wife, when she makes her coffee like with milk in it or cream. She does not put sugar in it because she does not like sugar, but she gets it all creamed up and crap with milk and stuff. I hate that crap. It is nasty. It's horrible. So like my wife and I, like, my wife doesn't drink beer, but I drink beer. But we both drink coffee, and I like my coffee black. And she hates it that way. And then, so basically my beer, the type of beer that I like IPAs. I like beer that's hoppy and has that like hoppy taste to it. I love that crap. It's just delicious. She hates it. She likes really soft beers. Like, If you give her a Budweiser, for instance, or a Miller or something, she would probably think that's fine. Those I don't like that much. They're fine, but I don't like them a whole lot. IPAs are really nice. So, but she'll taste one of my IPAs and she'll be like, wah! I also like whiskey and bourbon, the taste of it and the burn and stuff. She smells it and she's like, but basically the way I like my coffee, she hates it that way. The way I like my beers, she hates it that way. She's like when it comes to coffee and like beers, she's like the opposite in taste to what I am. Jay Blackhop says, I like my tea like I like my women, strong and sweet. Yeah, I like that. My wife is a very strong woman, like very strong-willed, and I appreciate that about her, but she's also very nice. She's a very nice person, very kind, gentle spirit and heart, but she does not take crap from people. It is a beautiful dynamic, like you're very good, strong, nice, sweet personality, but you do not take crap from people. I like that. It's really cool. Guinness. I like Guinness too. Guinness is nice. I like Guinness. I do like Spotted Cow. I've had that when I've gone to GaryCon and stuff. But Spotted Cow just kind of tastes a little bit like a Budweiser, to be honest. It doesn't taste, it's not hoppy or anything. Yeah, she does not yoink my beverages. She does not take my beverages. I like peanut butter a lot, and so like I'll get like peanut butter ice cream and stuff. She will not take that. She hates peanut butter. She hates peanut butter. I've had this mug for years. I got it from a company that no longer exists. So I don't. You could probably find something like this on Amazon, but it is amazing because like got the thing on the bottom and stuff, and it's huge. It's like it's pretty much as big as my head. Like my brain can fit in this mug. So it's nice, but I don't know where you can get it anymore. How do you feel about bonus actions? The bonus actions is one of the things so D&D 5th edition, bonus actions, how they split their action economy up, or how they do actions, like you have an action, you have a movement, and you have a bonus action. I think that system sucks. I think it's stupid. And it slows gameplay down because you always, every single turn. One of the things I really like about Pathfinder 2 is that you have 3 actions. That's it, 3 actions. And so as a game master, when I'm running the game with Pathfinder 2, it's easy to know when a player is finished with their turn. They've taken all 3 actions. They're done. Next player. Boom. And players always use all 3 of their actions. They just plan their turns out and they use all 3 actions. It's easy. One of my annoyances with D&D 5th edition is action, movement, and bonus action. Because this is what many times will happen in a game turn in D&D 5th edition, which slows the game down and is super annoying. So a player will be like, oh, I attacked this enemy, and then, okay, great. And then they're going to be like, oh wait, now is there a bonus action I can use? Do I use a bonus action? Is there anything I can use a bonus action for? Delay the game, right? And then I'm the one that they take their action and decide there's no bonus action. I'll move on to the next player and we'll start their turn. And that first player will be like, oh wait, I want to move too. Or I'll be like, they'll do an action and then decide not to use a bonus action or something. And then I'll be like, is that it? Are you going to move as well? No, I think I'm going to stay right here. And so that system just makes the game take longer. The gameplay is not as smooth because you may or may not move and you may or may not use a bonus action. The gameplay is much smoother when you have 3 actions and players always use all 3 actions. It's a smoother way to run the game. So that is one thing that I love about Pathfinder 2 that I really like when Wizards of the Coast was stealing Pathfinder 2 developers to work for them, and you can definitely see if you look at how the D&D 2024, some of the things they put in there and things they did, you can see the influence from the Pathfinder 2 developers that they stole from Paizo. But when they were stealing their developers, I was like, oh, maybe they'll implement 3 actions instead of this stupid action movement bonus action horse crap. I was like, maybe they will. It would be so amazing. And they didn't, And so, but yeah, I hate that crap. I didn't read your entire question though. Something about bonus actions. I think one action per turn for each character. The exception is healers should get to do a separate action as well, so they're not just healing the others. No, one action per turn would be miserable. That would be miserable. You should have 3 actions. 3 actions feels about right. Dungeon Coach in his DC 20 system gives you 4 actions. But his entire system is all about being an over-the-top, awesome, amazing adventurer, superhero, just doing crazy awesome stuff. That's like the vibe he's going for. So like, at least when I play his game, that's the vibe. And so like 4 actions for that sort of thing totally makes sense. Yeah, the way, so yes, Jay Black Ops is talking about DC 22, and you're totally right. I feel like the way Dungeon Coach Alan implemented actions in DC 20 is super cool. It is hands down one of the really cool, innovative things that he did for his game, where you have 4 actions and they can be used for reactions or regular actions on your turn. So like I once, and when I was playing, I played his game about 3 or 4 times. And one of the times what I did when I was playing his game is I think I was a rogue or something. And on somebody else's turn, I used one of my actions as a reaction. And then I was doing like a backstab or something. And then I used an action to give myself advantage. And then I used an action to do something else. I used all 4. Basically, I used all 4 of my actions on somebody else's turn to backstab them. And I did certain things that made it a crazy attack, and it did butt tons of damage. And I think I might have killed the enemy doing all that stuff. But there was such flexibility and versatility in DC 20's use of actions. It is hands down one of the coolest parts of the game. Just from having playtested it a few times, I thought that was like really cool. You know, the different things, the tactics and options that it makes available to you is super, super sweet. So yeah, DC 20, if you haven't played DC 20, you should probably go check it out. He has his, like, I think on Dungeon Coach's store, you can like get like the full game system is not available, but they have like betas and stuff and different versions that are being released. So you can go check them out and stuff, but it's really cool. It's really cool. The downside to having lots of actions though is that gameplay takes longer. Very true. Gameplay takes a lot longer. I once watched a DC 20 game where one round of combat took, I don't even know. But gameplay was very slow because of the decision loop. Because of the versatility and so many options of what to do, it would take players a long time to figure out what they were going to do on their turns. Now, I will say though that is in part a game master problem too, because the game master is not putting a limit on how long they take to decide what they're going to do. So you could, like if I were running DC 20, players would have a hard limit on like, you need to know what you're doing on your turn, or you're just going to not do anything and we'll go to the next player until you're ready. And they would just get skipped until they're ready. So like part of that game that I was watching where it took so long for players to make up their minds, it was like 10% game systems, a consequence of the way the game system implemented actions, but it was 90% the game master was running the system and just allowing players to take forever on their turns to decide what they were going to do. But that was a painful combat. I won't tell you where I was at or what I was doing, because that would probably identify who the people were that were running the game, and then they might feel bad. So I'm not going to say that. But it was painful. It was painful for me to sit there and wait and watch. I wasn't playing at the time, so I was waiting literally for Dungeon Coach so that he and I could go do something. And he was in the game, and it was taking forever. He wasn't the game master. He was a player in the game. Okay. Wow. All right, so we have a giveaway going on. I've forgotten to talk about the giveaway. So go check out the giveaway. There is a link in the chat where you can join the giveaway. At the end of the live stream, which is going to be fairly soon, we are going to be giving away $50 in DM Lair store credit, where you can buy cool stuff, books, D&D books, modules, adventures, We have Into the Fae. We have what is it? Layers and Legends, Loot and Lore, Secret Art of Game Master. A whole bunch of the cool stuff on our site. The winner is going to get $50. We're going to draw the winner in about 15 minutes. So go enter the giveaway if you haven't done so already. Yes, Copper. Come on, Copper. You're here every single live stream pretty much. You know there's a giveaway. There's a giveaway every single live stream. Do not say like, oh, there's a giveaway. You know there's a giveaway. There's always a giveaway, dude. Come on, man. You're killing me, dude. Okay, so join the giveaway. And our Kickstarter, Dungeon Drifters, is launching this coming Tuesday. So there's a link in the chat. You can go follow it so that when it launches, you get notified. It comes with tons, 46 of these full color acrylic standee minis. They're double-sided, full color, beautiful, 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 beautiful. And then there's over 100 playing cards. It's a board game, over 100 playing cards, and then maps, and I think about over 50 dice are going to come with it as well. So it's really cool. Go check out, follow it, and then if you back within the first 72 hours, you'll get a free mini. Vareth the Fallen Protector, who's like a fallen angel, really cool looking. You'll get that mini for free included with your pledge. So definitely go check that out. If you click the link that's down below, the pre-launch page has all the information about the game. You can go over there and take a look at it and stuff. It's got the pledges listed out, so you can like plan out which pledge level you want to get, all that kind of cool stuff. No, Goliath Cleric is fine. He's working. He's probably working his butt off. Which is why he's not here. Actually, there are no moderators in tonight's stream. Zero moderators. It's just me. Which means that if you wanted to be bad, you could be bad, and nobody's gonna stop you, except for I might if I notice it. Foxy Project says, oh, I need more dice. I'm sure we all need more dice. Yeah. Is the $1 reservation free mini still available? Yes, it is. You can still do that as well. You might have to go to a previous video of mine to find that link. We've mostly been sending people to our Kickstarter page right now so they can follow it. But you can still, if you find one of those links in a previous video, yes, you can still get that. You can still do that thing. Yes. Jeez, boss man, take it easy on him. Oh, what, Goliath Cleric? I mean, we have a Kickstarter coming up. We're both working all the time. Yeah. How do you manage distances during a fight without having maps or templates to help with spell range or ranged weapons? You estimate mostly. You mostly estimate. It helps to just think of things as like near or close, near or far away, but you're mostly just estimating. It's fine. Any tips to stop collecting? I think I have more minis and campaign books than I will use in my lifetime. Spend your money on something else so you don't have any money to buy them? I don't know. Go to the casino. Foxy Project says, why stop now? Yeah, it's sunk cost, right? You're already so deep, you might as well just keep collecting them, you know? Okay, so the thing is, that's a good question. The thing is that Wizards of the Coast has now failed to make a VTT, like 2 times? They tried to make their own virtual tabletop in 4th edition, and now they tried to make virtual, Sigil VTT, right? So they've failed twice now to make their own virtual tabletop. And remember too, they didn't make D&D Beyond. They did not make D&D Beyond. They just strong-armed the original creators or the original owners fandom into selling it to them, right? So they failed to make. We all know now that Sigil VTT has failed. It's basically just gone. They've laid off like almost all the developers, and the ones that remain are just basically getting it around for throwing it on D&D Beyond, right? But what I think is that Sigil VTT's failure is actually good. It is good for D&D. It's good for TTRPGs, and it's good for the hobby in general. And here's why. Number one, my hope, so like the whole idea with Sigil and VTT and D&D Beyond, everything Wizard wants to monetize. They want to heavily monetize things, and they want to make gobs of money. And my hope is, there's this hope in me, that with the failure of Sigil VTT, it may push Wizards of the Coast back to its roots. It's possible that now that their monetization method, Sigil VTT, trying to get into the VTT space has failed, crashed and burned, it might return them to the roots of making a good game. Just simply focusing on making an awesome, strong game that we can all play. I think it's pretty obvious that that has not been their number one goal at times, or perhaps lately. It definitely seems like upper management has emphasized way more the idea of making money, making a profit, and monetizing. And now, of course, they hired in tons of people from Microsoft to help do the virtual tabletops and all this online stuff, microtransactions and crap like that. But it looks like that's not working out for them. They've scrapped that whole thing. So maybe we can hope, maybe that it returns to its roots of making a good game, or even maybe a better case scenario. Now that Sigil VTT has failed, they hopefully would sell the D&D brand to somebody else who would care about it more and do a better job. So maybe it goes back to its roots and becomes and focuses more on just being a good game for all of us. So I think that's the first reason that Sigil VTT's failure is good for the hobby as a whole. I also think that decentralization is very healthy. So the thing is that if you had a dominant corporate-owned VTT, the ecosystem of VTTs might not be as diverse, because I suspect that probably Wizards of the Coast's ultimate goal with Sigil VTT, even if they didn't say this, right? Even if they told us otherwise, like they really want people to be playing their VTT. Like why create a product if you aren't going to try to get everybody to come play your product? So I think their goal ultimately would have been to get as many people on their VTT Sigil as possible, and to basically have people play other VTTs less, right? And so if they could have implemented that and gotten to a point where they were the sole VTT or one of the biggest ones, and people were leaving behind the other ones, I think what you would have found is that you would have had this basically corporate dominated VTT, and that wouldn't have been as healthy for other VTTs, and I think that I suspect their long-term goal would have probably been to do that. Like, are you going to really create your own VTT and then like not want people to use your VTT? That doesn't make sense, So decentralization is healthy overall. So yeah, that's a good question. The strong arming of the sale of D&D Beyond. So take this with a grain of salt. But what I heard, somebody was explaining this to me. And this is somebody else was telling this to me a while ago. So grain of salt here. But what I heard is that Wizards of the Coast wanted to buy D&D Beyond. But fandom was like, no, we're not selling this to you. This thing is printing money. You're not getting this. And so what this person told me is that essentially what Wizards did is that fandom had the licensing to make D&D Beyond for 5th edition. And so what this person was telling me is that Wizards basically went to them and said, hey, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make a new edition. We're going to make 6th edition, which you don't have the licensing rights for. And so essentially you are going to then lose the ability to make D&D Beyond. So either you sell us D&D Beyond, I think they ended up selling it for like 172 million. It was a nice tidy little sum. Either you sell us D&D Beyond, or we're going to just move on to a different edition and we're going to cut you out of the whole pie. So either make a big chunk of money now, or we're going to cut you out. So that's what this person was explaining to me, what they kind of did. And then of course we know fandom sold them D&D Beyond, but like, so anyway, that was like small tangent upon the strong harming of the sale. But again, grain of salt, this is what I was told, I heard. It may or may not be true. Would not surprise me if that was part of the negotiation tactic. Would not surprise me. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. If anybody knows differently, please let me know in the chat, because I could be wrong. Or the person that told me that could have been wrong. I think my cat wants to come up here. Come on, buddy. I know you need attention. Yeah, big boy. All right, so the third reason that I think that Sigil's failure is good for D&D, for TTRPGs, and the hobby as a whole, is that it allows third-party tools to thrive. So you have these independent VTTs like Foundry, Roll20, Owlbear Rodeo, Alchemy, and all of these other ones. They have room to grow and innovate and thrive without Wizards of the Coast's steamrolling the market, basically. Like, if you have Sigil VTT basically trying to become like the walled garden, collecting all the players in, and if it were to achieve the goal of becoming their unstated but must have been goal to become like the preferred place to play D&D, like if they were to able to achieve that, then what you would find is like these independent VTTs would be struggling, you know, and they wouldn't be able to grow and innovate and do all these things that they're doing now, right? And the fourth reason is that you have when you have more innovation and less standardization, that is a good thing. This is what he does. He comes up here and prowls back and forth. Competition encourages creativity. All right, now it's not gonna work, buddy, because I'm trying to talk. And you're like super distracting, buddy. I'm sorry. You got it. My other cats will like go to one side and just kind of sit there and hang out, but he's like in my face, prowling back and forth. I know the kitty will get attention. That cat gets so much attention. So more innovation, less standardization is a super cool thing. You get competition encourages creativity. If you had Sigil VTT crowding out other people of the space and creating their walled garden like they must have been wanting to do, that would like be forcing out competition, right? And then you're not going to get like all the cool stuff, the buffet of features, the formats and styles across all these different platforms that we currently enjoy. Like right now, I use Foundry VTT, right? But there are other things like Roll20 and stuff, and you can pretty much choose the one you want, you know, which is really cool. The other thing too that's kind of related to that is that open source fan created tools gain momentum as well. So with Wizards of the Coast kind of out of the spotlight with VTTs and Sigil kind of like failing, crashing and burning and stuff, community built tools and homebrew friendly platforms get more love and support. And that's related to my previous point. So, and then the final thing I think that it's good, Sigil VTT's failure is good, is that it boosts smaller publishers and systems. So without Wizards of the Coast VTT locking people into D&D, more folks are going to be able to explore other TTRPGs, because my understanding is that Sigil VTT was just going to support D&D. Like it was going to be D&D. You weren't going to be able to, for instance, put Pathfinder 2 on Sigil or put Shadowdark on Sigil. It was just going to be D&D. And so once you have a community using Sigil VTT, and as they're trying to get more and more people on it and playing it, if D&D is the only system available there, well, then what you find is that the friction to change to a different game system, such as Pathfinder or Shadowdark, becomes extremely difficult because you have to change to a different VTT. Here's the thing, I play on Foundry. Right now, I play D&D 5th edition on Foundry, but if I wanted to run Pathfinder 2 on Foundry, I could. I also play Shadowdark on Foundry as well. So I could play Call of Cthulhu on Foundry if I wanted to. I could play pretty much anything I wanted to on Foundry. And the friction of converting to a different system on Foundry, very easy. But if you had to tell your players, look, we're done playing D&D 5th edition, and we want to go play Shadowdark, but you're all playing on Sigil, and Sigil doesn't support Shadowdark, the friction of changing VTTs is very high, right? That creates that walled garden where you don't want to change, you know, your VTT and stuff. And so I think the fact that Sigil failed and now we're using all these other VTTs, it helps these other game systems to just, you know, thrive and prosper much more than they otherwise might have. So I know that there was all these like doom speaking videos, and I did one myself about Sigil's failure and what it meant, and everybody's like doom and all this kind of stuff. But I really think that it's a positive thing overall. and that it's not really going to be that big of a deal. You know, I mean, D&D is not going anywhere. It's always going to be around. We're always going to have the game. As long as you have the books, you own the game. You know, now D&D Beyond might get shut down. So if you just buy stuff on D&D Beyond, you might be out of luck. In the future, they decide to shut it down for whatever reason. But as long as you own the books, you own the game, and you're going to be able to play D&D. You know, and so I don't think it's that big of a deal. You know, they tried for the second time to create a virtual tabletop, and they crashed and burned, and that's just kind of the way it goes. But maybe I'm missing something. If there's other benefits to it, let me know in the comments. Obviously, let me know your thoughts. But I don't think it's that big of a deal. You could argue that's kind of karma too. So, but otherwise, I think our hobby is going to be just fine and not a problem. It's bad news for Wizards of the Coast, but it's kind of good news for everybody else, I think. Yeah, I like chatty cats too, as long as they behave themselves. Like if I were just sitting here watching a movie or something, Twitch prowling back and forth, wanting attention, it's not a problem. But if I have to focus on something, it gets difficult. He wants to come up here all the time when I'm working, and it's really hard. Yeah, I agree. Each VTT has different features, and you can pick the one that works the best for you. Yeah. Do you feel like the number of different game systems has grown quite a lot in recent years, or do you just feel that way because I'm fairly new to the TTRPG space? There have always been lots of different game systems, tons of different game systems. It's always been that way. So I don't think collectively, like if you look at how many game systems have existed, you know, before like say a few years ago, let's just say it was 100 game systems. Let's say it's 100. I don't know. Now, within the last few years, there has been, it seems like a greater proliferation, or the growth of the number of game systems seems to have spiked. And that was mostly spurred by the OGL crisis scandal, I believe. Probably best call it a scandal. But I think there've always been a lot of TTRPG games. But I think too, I think that what the OGL also did is it raised awareness of the other games that are out there and got people more interested in playing different things than just D&D 5th edition. So I think that there's just probably more awareness, but I don't think that objectively there are a ton more now than there were, say, 5 years ago. I think it just seems that way. It feels that way. All right, we're going to draw the winner to the giveaway. Let's see. Where is the giveaway? Winners. Draw a winner. All right, here we go. Drawing the winners of the giveaway. And Alan from Florida. Alan from Florida. You have won, good sir. I will be sending you an email. We will get you hooked up with $50 DM Lair store credit. Congratulations, my dude. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for tonight. I'm gonna wrap this bad boy up. Don't forget to follow our Kickstarter, Dungeon Drifters. It launches this Tuesday. Thank you for 100 awesome, beautiful Q&A live streams. This was our number 100. And our next one will be 101, obviously. But you only get 100 once. It took us like how many years to get here? So, all right, guys, have a fun day. I gotta go work. I got some work to do. End stream.